This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Hello, Iron fans. This is another episode of the Iron Hour podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in on Spotify, on YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcasts. I'm very happy to say that we've got a new and exciting episode for us. I'm your still temporary host for this episode, Max Bell. As we say, Andy Barraclough is on holiday, which in school holidays I think is outrageous. Happy to be joined by the one and only, the Italian stallion. He's upgraded from Selby to Howden. I'm not sure if it's an upgrade, but I'm going to stick with that. Marco, how are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Impromptu podcast. We never do them on a Sunday, so yeah, something different. But yeah, obviously we've got a fans forum on Thursday, which is when we tend to film sometimes. So just to give something, some content out, obviously with the weekend's fixture just gone, and look ahead to Saturday with Sutton.
Definitely, and you've mentioned a couple of things we'll come on to discuss there. Both Sutton away, our trip next Saturday, and our next game. But also the fans forum on Thursday. As you say, we usually record the podcast on a Thursday evening, but we're going to be a bit busy up at the football ground helping with the fans forum. So very much looking forward to that. We'll come on to discuss that in more detail soon. But before we get into the main bit of the podcast, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors who really do help us deliver these podcasts on a week-by-week basis. So firstly, thank you very much to Best Banks Wholesale, your one-stop shop for all your crafting needs. Thank you very much as well to Hole in the Wand, magical mini golf course at various locations in the UK, including York and Chester, and the very, very talented people behind the club's kit reveal videos, AC photography and videography, and also the good people that know film as well. So, yeah, thank you very much for their help, and I think one of them might get a bit of is it a shout out or is it a walk of shame when it comes to our FPL update later on? So very, very much looking forward to an update on Marco's baby. As he said, we'll review the Woking game and the Irons' excellent 3-1 win. #spoilers. We'll give an update on the Irons' postponed game against Morecambe on Tuesday. We'll preview Sutton. And yeah, we'll just go through everything about Scunthorpe United ahead of the fans forum on Thursday. How does that sound to you, Marco?
It's good to me, mate. I'll be tuning.
Excellent. And just before we do as well, I'm sure a few Iron fans would have noticed that the club put out a club statement on the morning of the Sutton game saying that the club had been charged with misconduct by the Football Association, quote, in relation to failing to control spectators in the promotion final encounter against Chester on May the 18th, 2025. So we'll just have to see how that goes, but definitely one to keep an eye on, although there's probably not too much we can add at this moment in time. If any Iron fans are wanting to find out more details on that, we would encourage you to check out the club statement on the club website. If you click news at the top and then just scroll down, it will come to you there. There was also, if you go down to the bottom of that statement, there's also a section that says away matches, saying, quote, we have been reported to the Football Association for spectator conduct related to two of our travelling contingent and their conduct on the day, talking about the Irons. 2-1 win away at Tamworth on the opening day of the season. So again, there's a quote from co-owner and chair Michelle Harness in there, which is a little bit too long to read all in one go. So if you want to see that out, do go on the club website and check it out, and we'll keep an eye on that issue. So, Marco, let's get off on a happy note. Let's discuss the Woking game. 2 wins out of 2. You must be happy.
Oh, buzzing. I mean, obviously last week on the podcast and a lot of fans I spoke to, I think everyone was quite optimistic about Saturday. And it was one of them where I thought, is it going to be one of them weeks where everyone's on a high after Tamworth? We're all thinking 2-3-0 and do we just get our bubble burst? And the first 10 minutes of the game, I thought maybe so, because I thought Woking looked quite a good side.
Do you know, I was just thinking about that. I don't think, particularly the first, we opened the score in a minute 16, but that first 15 minutes, I can't think of a game for a number of years where I've seen a visiting side get the ball down and start the game so quickly. Yeah. They really got at us.
And at that point, I was thinking, oh, you could tell we've gone up a level now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the Tamworth game, with all due respect to Tamworth, you maybe couldn't see that because it was still a bit scrappy. But
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's Woking clearly play very, very different style of football to Tamworth. I mean, obviously they're managed by Neil Ardley, who was at Wimbledon for a number of years, very, very close mate of ex-Scunny player and manager Neil Cox. So I was wondering about Woking, how will they mix it up? But they got the ball wide and they looked for the overlaps and they attacked our fullbacks, really, didn't they?
yeah, and look, I think it was a case of sort of weathering the storm for the first 10, 15. I remember
Mm.
maybe a gilt-edged chance where Roberts put a lovely ball in and just over hit for Whitehall, just to tap it in. But by that, that's the only chance we really had in that opening section of the game. So to score when we did, I think was vital and pretty much set the tone for the game because, like I said, first 15, I was like, oh, here we go. This maybe ain't going to be as easy as we thought. But no, look, once we got sort of our foothold in the game, we looked a lot more comfortable. No, it was fantastic. And look, we've played two teams that both stayed in this division at a high level comfortably last year. Obviously, we mentioned Tamworth being near the playoffs.
Yeah, Tamworth finished 10th and
Yeah, I don't think we'll have another
Woking
season
finished
like
15th. I think.
yeah,
I mean, they're an interesting one because if you look at the results last season, they ended the season quite strong, but it was their home record really last season. They actually had a really good home record,
yeah,
but quite a poor away record. I think they only won 3 away games last season. There was only 2 other sides who won 3 games away from home. They both went down. So I wonder if that'll be what a repeat for Woking this season. Maybe one of them teams that are quite strong at home, particularly if they play good football. Away from home, maybe a little bit more difficult.
yeah. And I think that's without. I know everyone's got carried away. We're on a playoff promotion train, but I think that's sort of what we're going to have to base our season on this year as well.
Even last season,
Yeah,
you know,
it's getting
obviously
your
we
points
finished
out.
second.
Yeah,
We lost 7 games away from home in the league last season. It's a lot.
yeah. Home form's huge, and it will decide your season. So yeah, obviously I'm not saying use it as sort of a blueprint, but we will have to be really good at home. So obviously to get off to a win, fantastic. Um, like you said, speak about Woking, Mason. I know we'll definitely come on to Mason a little bit later. Didn't really have anything big to deal with in the game.
Do you know? We were talking about that in the Ibar after the game, and you're thinking it really was quite an open game. You know, both sides looking to attack, even when it was still sort of 2-0, and even when it was 3-1. But either keeper, didn't really have all
No.
that good save.
Yeah, it was the same for them as well.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, the goals we scored, he really couldn't do anything about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were all sort of deflections, bobbles, which went in our favour, which is a nice change. I'm all for that. And obviously, another one we'll come on to later, Dec Howe being the poacher that he is, right place at the right time. And that doesn't just happen. We
No.
will speak about Dec Howe a bit. Positioning is vital. And look,
Absolutely.
I know we spoke to him the other week and he mentioned about his targets for scoring goals. Goal scoring is a habit. And some players have it and some players don't. And Whitehall can sort of get away with having a few weeks where he doesn't score because of his overall play, bringing other players into the games and being that target man. Whereas Howe just feeds off goals, and you can see he's one of those players. I remember being with Donny Roden, and in fact at Tamworth I said the same thing. He's very similar for me, a bit of a throwback to Chris Dagnall, but more poacher with his work rate and being in the right place at the right time. Again, Saturday was brilliant seeing me at that goal because he deserved it last week. So yeah, like I said, to a man on Saturday, even Mason, because I thought his distribution was fantastic. Barring me on 1 or 2, but people need to sit back and remember we're in the National League. Barring 1 or 2 wayward kicks, I thought his distribution was quite good. So yeah, look, the mistake at the end will be the talking point. And rightly so, because it was a bit of a clanger. But the Man U did want to. I don't know if you saw the Man United.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so basically watching Matt and thinking, look, he's on a lot more money than me and making mistakes. But yeah, no, coming back to work again, it was fantastic and good to see a good crowd as well.
Yeah, 4,412. It was a crowd 155 from Woking. Obviously, the big thing had been made about the season tickets sold about 2,500. I thought they were saying it was the most since League One. That's quality support, isn't it? We'd be on track to be potentially the third or the fourth highest average crowd this season. You'd think if those kind of crowds can be carried on.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I think this club has shown time and time again that the fans are there. It's putting the team out there to get them on seats. Like we've seen in the playoff final, getting 9,000 through the door.
In the sixth division, that's cracking.
So, I mean, I think 2,005 is astronomical. Look, the world as it is at the minute, nothing's cheap. Football's not cheap. I know we'll come on to Pintgate in a little while. Football isn't cheap, so to bring a family or even just to come down with your mate now, it's a long day out. So yeah, to see as many people through that ground as possible is brilliant. And let's hope this year we get a few more on the away end as well. Obviously, Woking bought 155.
Look, it's 4 hours, and
I don't begrudge them at all.
That's like, if we took that many to Woking, I'd be, you wouldn't knock it really, would you?
I heard it's a long way to Woking when you ship, so that's not great. So I do feel for him because we've been on the receiving end of that a lot. So.
Do you know, the first time I ever heard that chant was when we were last in the National League and we were away to Eastleigh on a Tuesday night, and the Eastleigh Ultras, the local 14-year-olds, were belting out of that. But I just remember the Scunny fans bursting out laughing, thinking, particularly as it was a Tuesday night, thinking,
you're not wrong.
No, exactly. A, particularly that season, you're thinking, A, we are shit, and B, you're right, this is going to be a long drive home.
But yeah, so look, I'm off the top of my head, straight to mind comes York. They'll bring a healthy following. Your Rochdales, possibly Halifax, they'll all bring a lot of fans, and put that on top of hopefully a base of, if we can get 4.5 as a strong average this season, with a bit of a better away end. I think that's fantastic, and yeah, credit to everyone who's bought the season tickets or turns up week in, week out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so obviously you then mentioned Dec Howe's 2 goals in the space of 8 minutes in the first half from a combined total of about 4 yards. Really pleased for him. I mean, it's a very strong start, bit of an unknown quantity for some Iron fans when we signed him from Gainsborough. You're thinking he's jumping up 2 divisions. That's a bit tough. I think a few eyebrows were raised when he started against Tamworth, but I mean, he's returning Butler's faith in spades, surely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worry. Always when you sign in play, obviously from 2 divisions below as well, not just for one. It is, can he do it at this level? Obviously, he's not going to score the same amount of goals he did last year at Gainsborough. That would be, I mean, I hope he does. But I mean, even the most optimistic Fire fans knows that that's very unlikely. But to start the way he has, I think it's a massive credit to himself and his work rate. And look, like you said, he's repaid Butler's faith. You're not getting in an Andy Butler team if you're not fit. And I think Dec Howe's shown that he's like the Duracell bunny. He's just so energetic, and he fits into his system lovely. Previous talk on our podcast was all about 5 at the back, and it doesn't look like it looks like we might not see it. We was all saying it's a team built for 5 at the back, but at the moment, obviously we'll see on Saturday how he goes. It might be a little bit of a different game, but no, I really like the system with Howe in it. I think it takes a lot of pressure off Whitehall. I think he can do his thing more often, and obviously on the other side, Roberts barely touched the ball on Saturday.
Yeah, do you know, we talked about that at the front of the Donny Road end, actually, saying, so many games last season where if Roberts had an off day, you really, really noticed it for us creatively. And look, you never want any player to, if you like, have an off day, but because Roberts' standards and production is so high, I think you notice it, even if he's just a 6 or a 7 out of 10 rather than a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But also, actually, in a weird sort of way, it was comforting for both him and us that you can win games without him being the absolute epitome of everything going forward for us.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think it's healthy relying on a single player that much like we did last year, especially when Whitehall was out of the team. It was like, right, what can Roberts do for us? That's all we had. Whereas now this season, I feel it's 5 or 6 ways we can hurt teams with different players. Obviously, not just from your forwards. Obviously, we've got your Howes, your Whitehalls, and Roberts. But not only that, we haven't mentioned him yet. Ollie Ewing. Looks like an
Yeah.
absolute star. I was
Just on Ewing, obviously it was a game that at points in the second half threatened to boil over. I think particularly with Danny White at the heart of things. Was Ewing perhaps a little bit lucky not to be sent off for a second yellow?
without a doubt, but I mean, who can blame him? It was coming, like you said. You could see there was going to be an incident there. I don't think it was a nasty or malicious tackle at all. But he caught him. He was on a yellow. I could have fully understood a second yellow being brandished.
And I think particularly what had the second yellow been brandished, what might have counted against Ewing was the fact that he was on Odesina, the number 5 centre half forward, who've been at the heart of sort of the little incidents with Whitehall. Didn't seem that random a challenge, perhaps given what had just happened before.
No. I maybe won't go as far to say it's targeted. But no, yeah, it's maybe a little bit of payback. I mean, obviously, we've got to talk about the incident. Obviously, where you stand in Donny Road, and you'd have seen it a little bit better than me.
Yeah, absolutely. And for any Iron fans who perhaps haven't seen it back, watch the club's highlights on YouTube, but actually watch it on Gareth's vlog, because he's done quite a clever thing. Obviously, there's two things happening at the same time. He's like zoomed in the right corner of his screen onto that incident. I mean, it's an interesting one. Obviously, the referee didn't go over to the linesman for it on that far side, but they've got headsets nowadays, so you almost don't need to. I thought at the time it was a bit of a 6 and 2 threes, and frankly, I think if you watch it back with VAR, I think you could make a case that they might have both got sent off.
I don't think both. I was cheering, thinking he's fell for it. It's a penalty. I know White obviously gave him a push.
Yeah, it started on the edge of the box. Both Odesina and Whitehall are sort of at each other. There's a bit of shirt tugging going both ways. I can understand why on the Donny Road, and people maybe didn't see Odesina's shirt being tugged, but it's because he's got his back to the home end and his shirt's sort of been pulled from the front. That's then sort of carried on as Whitehall's trying to run into the box. Now, look, watch it back, make up your own minds. But what I've seen and saw was Whitehall is almost trying to throw Odesina off, but it's quite high, it's in the face. And nowadays, you put your hands on somebody's face, you take your life into your own hands. But then what happened was what you said, Marco, was then Odesina's reacted to that.
Yeah.
Depending on your point of view, he's either trying to throw Whitehall off with a bit more vigour, or has he punched him, has he struck him? I think back to the the Farsley incident a couple of years ago when we went there, when both Whitehall and their defender both got sent off. It reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah. I mean, if that's okay, I'd have sooner did what he actually did and just leave it. It's petulant. Rather than bringing both teams down to 10 men, it's probably not worth it. But
yeah, I mean, it was an interesting one, and in a way, I do have a bit of sympathy with Whitehall, because I think in some incidents, almost his reputation counts against him with referees, so that when the fouls do happen, actually, the refs are almost straight away that it's a black mark into, oh yeah, but that is Whitehall. And look, it is what it is. Luckily, the relatively, the incident in the game didn't really affect the outcome. It was the same with the penalty appeal for Howe in the first half, which I don't know what you thought, but again, at the time, I thought Howe looked like he was looking for it a bit. Maybe he didn't quite fancy the shot across goal with the left foot. He sort of didn't fancy that for some reason.
No, he really didn't. And then he sort of took that extra touch and just sort of invited the time.
Yeah. I tell you who does that sort of bit quite often and quite well. I think he's Harry Kane.
Yeah.
He's got quite a canny knack of inviting defenders to make really stupid challenges. 100%. And look, if I was a Woking fan or player, I'd still be looking at that defender and going, why have you dived in like that?
They should have been early on in the game.
Oh yeah, exactly, and especially when you know at that point Woking were playing relatively well.
But yeah,
Um,
I think you make a really good point. It's something I've noticed with the Whitehall, with referees sort of giving it a black mark now. It's something I'm beginning to notice a lot more now. And sort of when you get that tick next to your name, it never really goes. And referees,
no, it did correct, absolutely, and it almost for you to then get the free kicks, it has to be that next level egregious, which is sort of it's not Whitehall's fault, but you can see why, don't you, when you're a referee
yeah,
sometimes. But again, in fairness to the ref, obviously then when Whitehall made it 3-0 in the 69th minute, I thought Whitehall was going to get a booking because obviously after he's celebrated with the Scunny fans, he's then gone and found Odyssey at the centre half and, just celebrating in front of him too.
but that's why you don't want him to. I don't want him to have a change. I'm happy for him to take a yellow. He's if it's Danny White on it, you're never gonna tame him. He's got that bastard about him.
No, no, and I think actually, when it comes to I don't think you totally want to take him. That little bit of fire, that little bit of edge, that's what it makes Whitehall a quality player.
Yeah,
And actually, I think it makes offensive. I always used to think this about Steve Torpey, in that him being if you like, king bastard, it makes the other attacking players' lives easier.
yeah,
Because he's the obvious, if you're a defender and you're thinking, right, I've got to be aggressive, I've got to be physical, you straight away attracted to Whitehall. If I'm Roberts, if I'm Howe, that probably buys you a little bit more time, a little bit more space, maybe that little extra touch in a way that particularly when Torpey was at his best in the early 2000s, it made the other lad who was playing up front, it made his life a little bit easier. So absolute peak Whitehall, I thought, peak Whitehall. And then you mentioned it, just a slight blot for the Iron defensively at the end of the game with Wokin's consolation goal from Turner in the 82nd minute. Direct from a corner. I mean, mistakes happen. As you said, it happened in the Man United game, but more than anybody, Campbell himself would be disappointed with that, you'd think.
yeah, 100%. And every time with 10 minutes left in the game, I say now it's just important that Campbell gets this clean sheet because obviously it'll mean a lot to him. But no, look, it happens. It's not great. I remember coming home and my dad says that keeper's going to cost you points, and I says it is one of those things. And look, if he's making mistakes, I'd sooner do him at 3-0 up. But yeah, it's really frustrating because the Tamworth game, they really crowded Campbell.
I agree, and I actually thought under those circumstances he did pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah, but then Saturday, I mean, what we saw was nobody near him.
Yeah.
Was he waiting for a challenge? Was he expecting a challenge? I don't know. I think it was just one of those freak incidents where he's just
It's gone through his hands
yeah.
basically. He's not misjudged it. His hands are there. They're just
It is just. I don't think there's any defending. It's just a howler. It's a stinker, and look, he's a young lad. He's learning his trade, and he won us the game last week. So you've got. I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think of that. I think of the save in the 10th of the 12th minute of injury time away at Tamworth. He's saved the important one. He's done the one that's mattered in the end, hasn't he?
Yeah, and like I said, barring that mistake, I think he had a good game again. So look, it's happened. We've still won the game. There's no harm, no foul. But again, it raises the obvious questions. A full season with Campbell, will it work out? Or it remains to be seen. But I think obviously going off his Tamworth game, I thought he was good again Saturday. It sounds really cliche, but it's just one of them things. It is just one of them things. So just need to move on. He needs to forget about it and just keep doing what he's been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to round off our review of the Woking game, this might be something we try and get supporters involved in on Instagram and Twitter. Sum it up in 3 words.
Woking. You've done me there. Quality, formidable, and
That's a big word for you.
thank you. And fluid.
You've been spending too much time with Melissa. You're coming out with big words.
Fluid. I thought the way we transition from when especially Evans. Obviously, I know Boyce's passing range maybe isn't at the level that Boyce at. Boyce for a centre half has a really good passing range. And I thought moving from defence to attack, I use defence lightly because I don't think they really offered much threat. but moving the ball from that first third into midfield, I thought was really quick, and that's where we hurt them. So yeah, fluidity.
And actually, as well, I know we mentioned that by his usual, almost impossibly high standards, Roberts had a relatively quiet afternoon. But again, for an away side, I thought Woking had they had quite an ambitious high line.
Yeah.
And particularly for the first goal, I believe it was. And there was 2 or 3 times where the ball's over the top to Roberts in particular. Caused it was a proper outball for us, which is always nice to see, especially as well. I think for most of the game we probably operated with a diamond or a box out possession, but then there was a bit after they made the first couple of subs where they did switch. They sent Howe a little bit wider defensively. They did go to like the kind of 4-5-1, 4-3-3 cross. So it'd be really interesting to see how we line up tactically against Sutton. So that's our review of the Woking game. Just because we've seen a little bit of chatter about it on social media, it's worth reminding supporters that we will be one of only 2 clubs that doesn't have a National League game midweek. Obviously, that is ourselves and Morecambe. Whilst, as Marco has said, we've recorded this on a Sunday evening, a couple of statements have come out today from the National League saying that from there they've approved the takeover at Morecambe. The postponement of Tuesday's games does still stand. They're wanting to give Morecambe a little bit of extra time to try and get things ready for Saturday. There's all sorts of legalities that they have to sort: player registration, insurance, bank account, keys.
It'd be interesting. To be fair, it'd be interesting to see where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
I imagine they'll be looking at. Is it where? I can't remember the name of it. Where Delicans play? Is it like the PFA?
Yeah, you think so.
I imagine they're looking at a few of them and possibly might raid it this week. If any of them are available on good contracts, obviously they're not going to be splashing mega money straight away. We've got to pay all the creditors off till the embargo's lifted. So, but no, fantastic news tonight. And let's just touch wood. Let's hope we get back into the league. We don't want to see what nearly happened to us happening to another team. So yeah, fantastic to see, and hopefully we get Morecambe at home played sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll very, very, very much keep our fingers crossed for that. So their first 3 games of the season are still due to be rearranged. Hopefully, we'll keep, as Marco said, we'll keep all of our fingers crossed for Morecambe that things work out in the end. Obviously, building forward to our preview of the Sutton game, it does pose quite an interesting thing in terms of, obviously, we don't have a game midweek. Well, Sutton play on Wednesday away at everybody's favourite vegan football club, Forest Green. Marco.
As if we don't like him enough, the hire Robbie Savage.
Well, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Robbie Savage has got many, many ills. I don't think being a bit of an insufferable vegan environmentalist isn't one of them that I'm aware of.
That's true, but I mean, nothing about Duncan Ferguson there. That was like, honestly, it was like a sketch. It was like a comedy sketch. Like, it just felt like I was in a fever dream. I've got like Duncan Ferguson advertising like vegan ready meals and like the food at the ground, and it's like he looked like an alien that's just been dropped into like a different planet.
Yes, absolutely. Particularly Duncan Ferguson. Let's be fair. This was a man that, whilst as a player, successfully kidnapped 2 people who were burgling his own house. I got plenty of podcasts with that story in depth that I urge you all to hunt out if you've never heard that story before. It doesn't really scream falafel and in the away end, does it? No. Anyway, nonetheless, it'd be interesting to see how Sutton's trip to Forest Green does go on Wednesday. So they will only really have sort of Thursday and Friday as their recovery days or planning days, whereas we, Marco, have got all week. Do you think that could play to Scuddy's advantage?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it depends how you look at it. Obviously, when we're in this form that we are now, you want the games to come thick and fast and sort of keep riding the wave. But then on the other hand, I feel like the performance that we've had so far, I'm thinking key play, I'm thinking of Rowley, I'm thinking of Howe, and obviously their work rate in games and how much they get through. I think a week off will be very beneficial. Look, Forest Green will be a tough game for Sutton. And to be fair, they've had a tough start. So obviously they went away to York on the first game, who obviously heavy favourites to win the league.
Really good 2-2 draw at York. You know, to go up to York and score twice, you can't knock that. That's clearly a side who offer a threat.
Yeah, I don't think many teams will come away with York with a point, let alone 3. So, and then obviously Solihull at home, they failed to score. I feel like they'll probably be disappointed with that. Um, and then, like you said, Forest Green. So they're playing. I mean, in my predictions, I had York winning. And I think I had Forest Green getting the playoffs. So they've played 2 of possibly the top 3 favourites to go up in the opening 3 games. So yeah, I'd be really interested. And then, like I said, they've got us. So yeah, let's hope it's a real long slog at Forest Green and couple of injuries.
Well, basically, what you're saying is load of red cards, load of injuries, not serious, but you know, little strains that keep them out for 4
2
days.
weekers, yeah.
Maybe the bus breaks down on the way home.
Whatever, yeah, anything. I'm not going full Italian ultras and fireworks outside hotels.
No.
But yeah, no, it's they've had a tough start, and Forest Green will be a really tough place to go. So yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see, but Sutton won't be an easy game for us.
No, I completely agree, and also, look, you know, these are still full-time professional athletes, aren't they? You know, we're going to have to play 2 games in 3 days over the bank holiday weekend, and you would hope that our squad would be fit and robust enough and deep enough to cope with that. So Sutton will be thinking, well, Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, 3 games in 5 days. You get through that period with a couple of good results, and you're happy, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like, look, we mentioned Sutton. Did a little bit of research managed by Steve Morrison, a bit of a throwback. So you know they're going to be physical. It's going to be no nonsense. No real standout players. But yeah, look, it'll be really tough. And like you said, regards to fitness, it can go both ways. So some form we're in now, I don't think it'd be the end of the world if we were playing on Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, the fact that it is Wednesday because of DAZN message you up a little bit more for the Saturday rather than the Tuesday. So I don't know how I feel about them.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned there, Sutton, since last year, been managed by Steve Morrison. I mean, A, he looks Millwall, and B, obviously, he's had 3 spells with Millwall as a player. Iron fans might also remember him from Norwich, Leeds, maybe even Stevenage. He had quite a successful spell there. 20 caps for Wales. Had a year as Cardiff manager, 2021 to 2022. So, look, there is a man with a lot of experience of the EFL, never mind the National League.
I remember him when we played Millwall in the playoffs at home. We went to their place. I remember going there. We drew 0-0. Then we brought them back to Comfort Park, and you're thinking,
yeah.
When we draw there 0-0, it's like it's dropped.
Oh, I still say that 90 minutes is the best defensive performance I've ever seen from any Scunthorpe side. It was so hostile at the Den that night.
Yeah, then Comfort Park, Steve Morris, we had 2 young centre backs. I can't remember off the top of my head, but one possibly with Canavan. I've got a really weird feeling one was maybe Canavan, but yeah, he just schooled us. And I remember watching from corners and Morrison stepping on toes. He's pulling shit, all the dark arts. Yes, I've still got nightmares about Morrison, but yeah, let's hope Saturday can heal me slightly.
Definitely, we'll very very much keep our fingers crossed for that. As you say, he scored twice in that second leg. We lost 3-2 at home to Millwall back in 2017. So look, it won't be revenge if you like, but he's clearly a very very serious operator. So we'll see how the game goes. Would you make any changes, Marco, or would you roll out unchanged in terms of side and setup? Do you think?
I wouldn't be shocked to see a back 5, but no, if it's not broken, it doesn't need fixing. I sit to defensively. If we was conceding goals, still winning, then I could see him maybe changing the line. But I mean, like I said, Saturday, I've said the word once or twice. But the best way to describe it was formidable. I didn't feel like we got a look in. Boyce and Evans were fantastic.
I believe Boycey given sponsors man of the match as well. I'm sure there was a few people we could have picked out from that, but he'd have been up there, wouldn't he?
Rightly so. There was a number of books he made, last ditch challenges. When they bought their big lad on, I think Effie on, you could just see Boyce's eyes light up. He wanted the fight, he wanted the battle, and that look,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
To have two of them centre backs because you'd back Evans as well. I think it really does put us in good stead, and I think we haven't mentioned it yet. Horton's keeping a very good player in Tyler Denton out of the squad.
absolutely. I mean, look, I've said it before, and I will say it again in terms of what I want from fullbacks, particularly in the back four. Look, if you're playing the back five, you're playing the wing backs. You do need them to be, real key creative outlets for you. But in a back four, win your tackles, win your headers, be in the right position defensively, particularly if somebody in front of you is giving the ball away. And I thought that Horton was spot on, really. There's been a bit of chatter that some Gateshead fans maybe didn't rate him based on his spell with them, but 2 games so far, he's been spot on.
He looks phenomenal. Yeah, really good bit of business on paper. So it looks like that so far. And I mean, we've got, I don't know how long into this podcast, we've not even mentioned Starboy.
Yeah, actually, and as well, it was interesting. Really, he was almost playing like an inverted fullback against Woking. Coming inside with possession, he made 2 or 3 really good runs in the first half. Particularly one contributing for the second goal. When he had the overlap of the overload of the back post when Whitehall squared it to Howe. So yeah, another. Was it 14 appearances, 14 wins now for Starboy? You can't knock that, can you?
His performance on Saturday was reminiscent of when we played Chester at home. Was it in the grassroots day?
Yeah.
Where because they didn't really offer much down that side, he sort of gained confidence throughout the game and thought, "Oh, I can go on a little bit of a mad one here." And like I said, we didn't really attack down that side that much at all, so he had a bit of a license to roam. And like I said, I thought it was a literally textbooks game, similar to the Chester game, where just like for like, and he just brought out the best in him. Again, I apologised on last week's podcast, but yeah, 14 appearances, 14 wins, and look, I don't think that's no fluke. I think he's been fantastic, and that back four, as much as it hurts me to say, because I really do like Tyler Denton. I think he's just got to wait for his opportunity because you don't change that back four at a minute.
No, absolutely, and it's like you said, isn't it? Really, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And look, Sutton away will be a big test, as well Halifax at home. Halifax finished in the playoffs. We're not going to preview the Halifax game in depth in this podcast because we're going to try and bring you on after the Sutton game and before Halifax. Touch wood, if we can, technology and availability permitting. If we don't, blame Andy Barraclough. I think that's a good way of looking at life there, Marco.
That's what his bird does.
So we'll come on to the fans forum shortly and sort of go through some of the questions we might think will come up and how people can get tickets, etc. But before we do, Marco, obviously we've got the INR podcast FPL, Fantasy Premier League, that's officially started. Can you give us a bit of an update on that?
First of all, we've smashed last year's record, which is incredible.
Amazing. A day into the season.
Yeah, 299 people.
Who wants to be... Somebody sign up to be 300, please.
Possibly after this, it might be 300, and I hope so, because, it's fantastic. And look, it's just a really good opportunity. A lot of the players that we've mentioned, your Dentons, your Whitehall, Dec, Carlton. I'll come on to see how they've done in week 1, but obviously there's still a game on Monday night. I don't know how many people have got Everton or Leeds players. I know I've got 2.
Oh, crikey, that's interesting. Who have you got?
I've got...
Because I haven't got any. I didn't. I wondered if...
I'm hoping for a Toffees win.
Oh, okay.
I've got...
In fairness to Everton, they don't create loads, but they don't really leak goals, are they? I think typical David Moyes, they usually quite a bit of value in a Jordan Pickford, maybe?
I've got them down. I think they'll come top 10 this year.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think
they did end last season quite strongly, to be fair to them.
Jack Grealish is a really astute sign. I think.
That's a good share. That actually, yeah.
Moyes is a brilliant manager, and I think West Ham must be looking at themselves thinking, "Do you know what I mean?" He worked on a shoestring at West Ham.
I know some people sometimes take a bit of the mick about Scunthorpe Twitter. if you want to see a side in claret and blooming meltdown on social media in the last 24 hours, you check out West Ham Twitter, folks.
And rightly so. Same for Brentford. They could be in trouble this year. But yeah, I've got Ndoye and Branthwaite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, there's had to be a little bit of, I feel like the Scunthorpe board here. It's been a bit of a budget cut to get Haaland in and Salah. There's had to be a bit of a few people have missed out, but yeah, like I said, I've got them too, so I'm hoping for an Everton win. But speaking of the guys in the team at the minute, so we've got Tyler Denton. He's not starting at the minute. He's obviously putting a lot of time into fantasy football because he's 6th in the first week.
And obviously, for us, he's number 33. Add them together, 6th.
There you go. Dec Howe continuing his good form, not only on the pitch, but in fantasy league, in 15th. Not far behind him is the boy wonder, Danny Whitehall, in 18th, with his very aptly team name of 4+1 at the back lives matter or something like that. And then we've got Cal Roberts in 25th. So the Scuddy boys are all in the top 25, which is so much like the team on the pitch. They're all starting to really well. So yeah, but again, massive thank you.
And just let's just go to the bottom of the table briefly, shall we? Obviously, you've mentioned there that there's 299 teams, and little bit of controversy already. In 299th, we have Mike Jackson with. Now, Mike, we haven't yet decided what the prize is for Wooden Spoon yet, but by the looks of your team, you clearly want to win it.
Yeah, I don't know. I won't say match fixing, but some questionable choices.
Yeah, we'll have to give it a bit of a think, Mike, as to whether or not that's within the spirit of the rules.
Do we have VAR in the INR FPL?
Possibly. So let's obviously count that. So Mike's in his own, so he's 299th. Then above that, who's in 298th, Marco?
The man who you guys tune in to listen to talk about football. Meant to be respecting his opinions. Andy Barra has got the strongest team in the league as he's holding everyone else up.
Boom.
Is in 298th. Some questionable picks yet again, but I know for a fact that Barra is taking this seriously, which makes it even more funnier.
It does. He's got one player to play on Monday night, which is Byram at Leeds. So whoever's reffing the Everton Leeds game, if you could sort out a red card, that'd be terrific.
But yeah, just to wrap FPL up again, massive thanks to everyone who's joined. If you know any friends who haven't got a league and just want to take part, and again, chance to play against the people you go watch on a Saturday, the lads. I know they're all buzzing for it. So yeah, real good opportunity. Let's get to 300. Yeah,
absolutely. And also a big shout out to one of our sponsors from Hole in the Wand, Phil Pinder, who is 2 places above Barraclough in 296th.
Still early days. It's the media what can say, can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
It can. And knowing Barra, it will.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more there, Marco. So obviously we've mentioned it a couple of times as we've progressed through the podcast. We've got the fans forum coming up at Scunthorpe United on Thursday, which is a really great opportunity for supporters to quiz not only the 4 co-owners of Scunthorpe United, but also the chief exec, Matt Roberts, and first team manager, Andy Butler. Marco, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously can't please everyone. There's the same 5 or 6 people on social media who you're always going to get. But no, it's a really good opportunity for us. And not only that, I said it on the last podcast, it's such a good chance for any doubts you do have. Look, these guys are there face to face. Ask them anything you want, anything that you've got unease with. Like I said, it's your chance, it's your opportunity to go and ask. And yeah, that's it, really. That's the idea of a forum. We're delighted to be covering it. We've got the guys with the cameras. It's going to be on YouTube. Hoping, touch wood, cannot guarantee. There should be an audio file the next day. So if you did miss it, to put you at ease, you can listen to it that way. And no, again, a massive thanks to the club because they don't have to do this. So to have all of the owners there and the manager to obviously answer any queries. I know you mentioned Michelle and Matt were walking around, doing the rounds before the game on Saturday.
Yeah, in the Iron Bar, which I thought was terrific. Chatting with fans and asking what they thought about stuff, which I thought was excellent.
Yeah, and again, that's the big thing that we need within is transparency. So I know people have mentioned why isn't so and so there, but like you can buy tickets. So obviously you're going to mention that. So if you don't have to buy them for free,
Yeah. So it's worth flagging how supporters who want to come along to the fans forum can do so. So you do need to register. You could do that in literally, I think it's 3 clicks on Scunthorpe United's website. It's completely free entry. They just need to know numbers so that, from a licensing point of view, that unlikely that 1,000 people rock up. But they might all want Marco's autograph. You never know. I'm sure he'll happily sign anything. So do go onto the club's website and just register your attendance. And we're looking forward to it. And if anybody who can't go, maybe they're at work or they live away, but they want to submit a question, Marco, how can they do that?
I remember the email. It's podcast@gmail.com. And again, we've already had lots of questions, a ton.
That's good.
And we will be doing our utmost best to get them out there. As I say, if you're there in person, fans are invited to ask whatever the questions they want. It's not us. It's not us asking questions. But a lot of people seem to think that we're holding them to account, or we're going full got you. But it's really not that. It's not that. We are just giving it a platform, and fans ask their questions. It's not about the iron hour, but we will be there. So any people who can't make it, we will do our utmost best to get them across. And then you can hear your responses either on the live or on the podcast the next day, hopefully. So yeah, really good opportunity. That email again is ironhourpodcast@gmail.com.
Or people could bring us a message on Twitter, on Instagram as well. Give us a follow on both of those platforms.
A couple of people at the game on Saturday came to me and asked me a couple of questions. Brilliant. Facebook, we're very reachable.
Absolutely. I do quite like the idea of you as Jeremy Paxman, though. You're just going to get the same question and ask it 12 times in a row. Why no chips?
To be fair, this wasn't in our brief, but I had a pie on Saturday, and that was very good. So credit where it's due, the catering points. But I know I've seen a few people say the salt and pepper chicken boxes.
Sounds very good.
I saw my granddad. The salt and pepper chicken box in the Donny Road, and I don't know what he'd say, but no. So he's very much a pie and pea sort of man. But yeah, no, my pie was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, obviously we were both in the I bar for quite a bit before the game. I suspect it'll be one of the things that comes up at the fans forum. On last week's podcast, Gareth said it was the one of the questions that he'd like to ask in terms of the operations being brought back in house. What that looks like for supporters and the club from a logistics management point of view going forward would be quite an interesting question. And what I would say is that obviously, whilst prices are always going to be an ongoing question and concern, particularly around specific products, because there can be a mixed picture sometimes. I was actually quite impressed in that at the bottle bar in the Iron Bar, they've now installed like draft on there. Which should hopefully ease some of the congestion on the main bar towards the toilets.
I got a lot quicker on Saturday.
Yeah, that was a measure that needed doing 15 years ago. So really, really, really pleased to see that. And actually, as well, I think when they were doing the rounds, Michelle and Matt mentioned that they'd had 11 new tills installed all around the place. So a bit more of an integrated system, which was really, really good to see. And anybody who's ever tried to run any kind of commercial operation knows how not expensive, wink, wink, tills and that kind of physical infrastructure can be. And also just a little bits like, I've been able to put my season ticket on my, in my Apple wallet, just straight away making that supporter experience a little bit easier for some people. That's not always going to work for everyone, but for some people, I was really pleased to see, the new ticketing partner, just the little bits that can make a bit of a difference to that whole supporter experience.
100%. Look, I think it's very important that you don't get stuck. We do have to sort of move with the times at some point. And no, like you said, with fan base, my ticket purchasing was brilliant. popped up in my phone to add it into my wallet, like you said, and just made it a lot easier process. Like you said, maybe we mentioned at a forum regarding beer prices because it is a large jump. It's £4 to £5.20 in the course.
I think I think it depends on what the beer was, but it's a good question. We'll ask for more details on the prices. I imagine at the forum.
Yeah, so I'm going off Panta Cruz Campo last year was £4, which was ridiculously cheap. At a sporting venue, a premium beer, £4 was always going to rise. It was just a case of how much, straight to £5.20. I feel like £5 would have been fair. But like you mentioned, with the drafts being put on the bottle bar now as well to sort of ease that congestion. No, my overall experience was fine on Saturday, and I managed to get a couple of pints, whereas normally I only had one.
Oh, that doesn't sound like you.
So, no, really impressive. But yeah, like I said, the pricing will definitely come up, and rightly so. Obviously, it's changed to in-house, and they've seen it as that the drinks are worth so much more now rather than what there was before. But there was no way they could maintain £4 a pint. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and then one final thing that we imagine might come up with the fans forum as well was the pitch. It was interesting to see, obviously, all the work that had gone in over the course of the summer. After the stadium weekend, and no pre-season friendlies played there. For example, the pitch was sort of almost completely relayed. No pitch high, for example, which they had done in previous years, but looked like it was cutting up a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it concerns me. Obviously, it's been relayed. Yeah, it looks like it's coming up heavily, and my main worry is an injury.
That's what happened last year.
Yeah, with the players that we've got on the pitch now as well, one bad injury away from having to change the season. I mean, if God forbid, if Roberts got injured, or Ewing, or White, or well, any of them. And I mean, I know we offered Barros a new contract, but I spoke to someone the other day. I said we owe him one. we owe him the new contract because it was our fault.
No, absolutely.
The pitch was unplayable at Pats last season. So, look, I mean, before the game, and I know the Sunderland game before it actually kicked off, the pitch looked in pretty good nick, and it looked good on Saturday. But yeah, the ease of it, how it's coming up, the divots for like golf shots. Well, my golf shots definitely.
I don't play golf, but snooker maybe for me. Digging up the cloth.
Literally, that is what it looks like, and obviously, it shouldn't be the case this early on in the season. So look, I know that's not an overnight fix. It's not a quick fix. Obviously, it's got a couple of weeks off now. Let's just hope we can sort of put us at ease on Thursday. There will be questions about that, and rightly so. So yeah, let's hope there's a plan in place to solve that, and to make sure what happened last year doesn't happen again.
Yeah, absolutely, and to fans who sort of might understandably want a little bit more detail on that, and come to the fans forum, or watch it if you can't for any reason, and I'm sure that'll be one of the questions which. The owners are quizzed on, and rightly so. So, Marco, before we go, give me a quick score prediction for the Sutton game on Saturday.
Oh, I mean, Barrow asked me what I thought for the first time game. I said 6 points, and we're there already. So I look a bit stupid now, which is very easy to do.
But also better to be underestimated.
I'm very happy to be wrong, very happy, and I think. When I give us the 6 points, I did that on the basis that we'd go and get a point at Sutton, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to go... I'm off 0-0. I think Mason's going to get his clean sheet.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I like the sound of that. Particularly as Sutton have drawn their first two games. Well, I mean, I went to Sutton the last time we played them, when we lost 6-1. And we were 5-0 down at half time, and two Scunthorpe fans who will remain nameless left at half time. I can't say I blame them. So it can't be that bad.
It can.
Surely
he goes, it can.
All right, Mick McCarthy. I, however, will go for a 1-0 Sutton win. Typical Steve Morrison.
This is the negative podcast now.
If somebody if somebody had offered me 6 points from the first 3 games, I'd have gone, yeah, thank you very much. Job's a good one.
Yeah, for you 2 or 3 people that say we're happy clappers, listen to this.
Yeah, we've not predicted a goal between us.
No, that's quite worrying. That would be the neggy iron.
Absolutely, I will be there. Obviously, it's bank holiday weekend, so I'm making a bit of a weekend of it down the Big Smoke. So I very much look forward to being wrong again.
You and me. It's not for me in London. I don't thrive there.
I mean, mate, you think Selby's the big metropolis, so
it is. There's no need other than football. There's just no need. I can't make Saturday, so it will be a DAZN job for me. If it's on.
I believe it should be, although obviously the signal for the Tamworth game is a little bit scratchy. So
it was really terrible. But I know for no reasons, VPNs have been getting downloaded recently due to a very popular website changing its rules. So I've been told. So I'm looking forward to that, and then I can make the Monday game. So I'm looking forward to Halifax. But yeah, no, look. It's really hard not to be optimistic, but yeah, I'm going for a draw.
I hope you're right, Marco. I hope you're right. Right, that just about brings us to the end of the INR podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching in, listening in, tuning in. And we hope to bring you another one after the Sutton game. We'll make sure we keep in touch. And hope to see quite a few friendly faces at the Fans Forum up at Canford Park in the Exec Lounge on Thursday. Up the iron.